Is virtual magic ending? No, really, like it's a really good question. Is virtual magic ending? Like, is it going to be over? There's so many different places around the world that are at different phases of the pandemic right now. And some of us, like right here in Toronto, we are entering another 1 month lockdown because the numbers have never been higher and it's becoming a problem. But I know in America, most people kind of have their first shot, if not their second already. I know in the UK, things are beginning to open up, and in Israel, things are almost completely and entirely back to normal. So it obviously begs the question, are virtual magic shows going to go away? And to answer that question, I will say, I don't know. Yeah, that's right. I have no idea. I will tell you one thing. I don't think they're going to disappear because I think that it's going to be hard to get the toothpaste back in the bottle. I think if virtual employees, that's going to keep existing, at least in some regard, which means virtual magic shows, virtual performance, virtual entertaining is probably going to exist in some regard. How much it exists? Well, I have no idea, and only time will tell. But if you're anything like me, if you're a virtual entertainer, if you've been a little bit of a virtual entertainer, maybe you just dip your toes in the water of virtual entertainment, you must be thinking the question, how much longer do we have for virtual magic? What else can I do to, for lack of a better term, squeeze the lemon of virtual magic? And then also, what do I do to be part of the transition so that the transition back to in-person events is easy? It's not as hard as it was to transition to virtual. So I'm going to tell you the answers to those questions, or at least the things that I have my absolute eyes set on right now. The first question is about the world of virtual magic. How much do we have left? What do we do to take advantage of the time that we have left? And I'll tell you this, we are now entering 1 year in the world of virtual magic, and maybe you've done some marketing, maybe you've done some outreach, maybe you've told some friends, I don't know, but in a few weeks, in a few months, when we look back and you find out that your aunt's company hired some quiz night or some improv troupe or something, you're going to be beating your head against the wall thinking, why didn't they hire me to do a virtual magic show? Because that was awesome. So the first thing I would recommend to everybody, we don't know how much longer is left. Whatever thing you were thinking about doing, reaching out to your family, reaching out to your peers, doing some posts on social media, I recommend that you do those. That's the first thing that I would say. Those are the low-hanging fruits, and I promise you, now is one of the best times that anybody probably works at a company that needs this kind of entertainment and needs this kind of support, and it all happens over Zoom. So you're in a really, really good boat to be the person to serve them. So number one, what to do with the remaining time we have left is go for the low-hanging fruit. There are so many different options that you can just pick from the easy things that you will have regretted in a few weeks and months that you didn't reach out to your friends, to your peers, to your family, because they all work at companies that may potentially need your help. That's the answer to the first question. The second question, what can we do in the remaining time to benefit? There's only a little bit of time left. And the answer to that question is, and I've been barking about this for a long time, is put on a ticketed virtual magic show. As somebody that put on paid virtual magic shows in person, I can tell you two things. Number one, they are an amazing lead generator that also, make a lot of sales because people see you live and then they want to hire you. The second thing is it's really expensive to four-wall a theater in person, right? But virtually, it costs nothing. You probably already pay for the Pro Zoom account, which means it doesn't really cost you anything to four-wall your own theater. It's fun. It's awesome. It generates leads for your email list. It generates actual sales because people see your show, and if you're good, they want to hire you for their company, for their family, for their birthday parties, for their teams. I promise you, if virtual shrinks and these kinds of things go away, you are going to regret not putting on your own ticketed virtual magic show. If you are looking for a sign, this is that sign. That is number two. And number three, the question of how do we, when things go back, how do we do it right? How do we make the transition back be seamless and not be challenging and frustrating? And the answer is to be part of our clients' conversations about the transition. And I'm going to give you one sentence that you can use for the next 3 or 4 months with every single client. And that sentence is, are you doing your event virtually or in person? I know that might sound ridiculous, but you can send that to every single past client. You can send that to prospective clients. That is an easy question for people to answer because they are planning their event. And if you play your cards right, you have options to serve them for both. So if the companies or teams or schools, planned a virtual event because they didn't know where the legislation was going to be, great. You've got a virtual event for them. If they planned an in-person event, great. You've got an, in-person magic for them and you can be part of the transition. And I would say my best advice for anybody who wants to really, really crush it in, the real world or IRL, in real life is to be part of your client's transition. Ask them if they're doing the event this year in person or virtually. Ask them if you can help. Now's the time to do favors for people directly in your target market because they are going to be going through a challenging time retransitioning back to things being in person. So do favors, help them bridge, ask them, are you doing it in person or online? Do you need help? How can I help? Do you know that I have this? Oh my goodness, these things are back. Help them, be part of the conversation and be part of the transition. Don't wait for them to reach out to you. They're going to be thinking of a million other things. You reach out to them and support them in the transition. That is how you're top of mind. And there you go. Those are 3 things to keep in mind right now as the world of virtual seems to not be wrapping up, but at least it seems to be slowing down. So like I said, is virtual magic going to be disappearing? I have absolutely no idea. What I know for sure is it's going to be a long time until we forget about this, if we ever do, forget about virtual magic. I don't think we're going to forget about it. I think it may get smaller. It likely will get smaller, but it won't disappear because I think now that people know that virtual entertainment is a thing, I think it's a big deal. But I do think we're in the middle of, I keep wanting to say a bubble, but I feel like a bubble will pop. So not a bubble, but I feel like we are in some sort of hump, right now, swell, of a moment in virtual magic. And I think now's the time to double down and triple down. So go reach out to every single one of the low-hanging fruit that you have. Go try whatever marketing tactic you were thinking about doing. Try it, do it. It's never been easier than it is in this moment in time right now. Go, please, please, please put on a ticketed virtual magic show. They're fun, they're awesome, and they generate leads. And be part of your clients' conversations about the transition. Don't wait for them. Be part of the conversation. Well, there you have it. I hope you liked the episode, and I hope, of course, that you learned something. If you need a little bit more help, like if you need some help getting bookings, growing your virtual magic, exiting virtual magic, running the systems, marketing, pricing, all of that good stuff, then feel free to send me a message in the link of the description of this episode. There's a button, click it, and send me the word upgrade. And that way I'll know that you want to know about working together, and I'll send you all the deets. Thanks for being here. Hope you learned lots, and I'll see you next Thursday. Peace.